Alright guys, so in this live stream I'm gonna react to a part of the video. There is a long format video where girls talk about what is unfair towards men and also the host. So it's very interesting. You guys will know what they think about you guys, like what you are going through and stuff like that. It is kind of ridiculous to some extent, but there's some genuine opinion that they share, which I totally agree. At the same time, there is something that they said in the video are completely ridiculous. So yeah, before I start reacting to the video, guys, just hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and definitely subscribe to this channel. Okay, so here you go.
But it's just, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Okay, so you had something that you wanted to talk about, if I recall.
We were talking about
the wage gap. Okay.
Equality, and so I was just wondering, I just want to get into the topic, but like, what do you think is women have that's
like
not
unfairness
equal?
towards men.
Yeah, like I understand like the draft, for instance, but I was wondering what other.
So do you want me to go, or do you want?
Yeah, you can start. Yeah.
I actually have a list.
Yeah,
do you want me to read a list?
I mean, yeah, I would love to hear.
Normally, I'd like to have this just flow from my brain, but I wrote down a list
okay.
for this. Okay, so you mentioned the draft. So yes, men are the exclusive subjects to military conscription. Women are entirely exempt. So men are far more likely to die in war. On that note, men throughout all of human existence have been 99.999% military casualties.
So why he is mentioning that? Before this part, they were talking about equality, like women were asking like equality, all these things. Okay, so when you are asking for equality, then you should be equally invested into getting drafted, right? Or you should show some interest. Hey, it's unfair towards men, so why don't we make it equal? Why don't we pick women or girl like who are adult? So yeah, like that's the thing they're talking about here.
And I would argue that men,
I mean, feminists want equality, so that's what they're talking about. Like, okay, if you are completely like the idea of getting drafted, or like you want the equality, then definitely you should be drafted. So that's the thing they're talking about here.
Just in the context of warfare, just on this sole grievance, I would say that the suffering men have experienced when it comes to warfare outweighs all of women's collective grievances probably 1,000 times over.
I might be wrong here, but I'm gonna quote Hillary Clinton. Like, Hillary Clinton was saying something like, I mean, I might be misquoting, I don't know, I don't exactly remember what she said, but it was something like this. Maybe she didn't say that, maybe it was a fake post by somebody, okay, I don't know, but maybe there's some thing that she said about this. So where she said women loses the most, okay, they lose their father, they lose their husband, they lose their children in war. Okay, so women loses the most in a war. And somebody commented like, what are you talking about? Men are losing their lives in the war, therefore men are the primary victim of that, not women are the primary. Like, they were arguing about like women are not the primary victim of war, primary victim of war is man. So like it was kind of a like ridiculous thing in my opinion.
You might not like to hear that, but like I encourage all
yes, secondary victim are women definitely, but primary victim are definitely men.
To watch All Quiet on the Western Front. It's available streaming on Netflix.
She might be emotional over there, so yeah, I'm gonna be like giving her fair credits for that. And I saw this post, okay, it might be a false post, I don't know, but maybe she said that, so that's why I just wanted to remind you guys like what is it all about.
War is brutal in ways you cannot imagine. That film cannot even begin to capture the degree to which men have exclusively suffered throughout all of human history. And so, not to say that women haven't faced their own specifically women, specifically female disadvantages, but war is like on a totally other level. somewhat related to war. Men are more likely to have post-traumatic stress disorder. Men are more likely to be homeless. 80% of the homeless are men.
Did you guys see that post on Twitter? Like after 5 years of war, that man who is literally looked like a 40 years old, like a 18 years old or something, around that time, a person goes to war, and then 4 or 5 years of war, he looks like double the age of that person he was 5 years ago. So it was kind of a thing that you guys should look into, because there were responsibilities, they had to go through stress, and you see there is a lot of stress. Like it's it's something that you can't even imagine, like going to war, like somebody is dying in front of you. Like we can't even handle the stress of our grandparents or our mom and dad, or like somebody close to us who dies. Like we cannot even handle the stress. Like they die naturally due to cancer, or sometimes accident. Like we cannot even take that. Okay, like we cannot even like go through that situation easily. Like, oh yeah, it's just that. No, we don't. Like we have so much stress for those kinds of situations. So you have to think about where you have your friends are working together, and you have a sense of brotherhood where you are like literally sharing certain things together, right? And you see them dying, you see them like literally 50% of them are dying. Sometimes it's 10%, sometimes it's like 20%. Like 100 men goes, 20 men dies, 30 men dies, 40 men dies. So these are the things that you have to look into, like how much stress men are going through like in our world. So you have to like, women should respect that. Like we are literally doing everything for women. Like we want to protect them, that's why we're doing everything. And yeah, there's certain situation where they like certain governments uses propaganda to invade certain countries. So there is that. But in a fair fight, like okay, somebody is being the aggressor and you are trying to defend yourself, in that case you have men who are trying to like protect you. Like if there was no women in the country, like they would be like, oh, I don't need to fight war, I'm taking the L, I'm gonna live in a different country. So yeah, like there is genuine love and affection from men towards women, which is why men take the stress. Like okay, I can do everything. Like even though uh, we are like maybe 50% sure that okay, maybe I can go through, maybe I cannot. So like even though there is like a 50% chance of dying, we are still taking the risk. Like if you're in a helicopter, okay, and you have a parachute and you have 50% chance of like the thing working and parachute okay working, okay, and maybe not, there is 50% chance that it will not work, okay, so 50% chance of dying, okay. Most people wouldn't choose to like jump from the helicopter, okay. So the thing is that you need to understand one thing, that we are literally taking this stress for women. We love women, we want to take care of them, we want to protect them. But some feminists will get mad at me just for saying them, okay, just for saying, like the other day I cannot even comprehend this idea. Like okay, I said clearly, I said I want to protect women. If there is a fight and there are two men coming after me, or let's say I'm with a woman and then they're coming after us, two of us, then I'll let her go and I'll fight them both alone. Now the feminist got angry, okay, she got angry and she was like, no, what if she can help you? Like you are literally letting her, like forcing her to go, like stuff like that. Like you are a misogynist, and you all these things are related to patriarchy. Like what is this? This is ridiculous. Like you see in a like a guy who is, let's say, like 5'6", maybe he's just 14 years old, and maybe both of them are 14 years old, whereas I'm 24, almost not 24 yet, but almost 24 years old. So the thing is that when a when those guys comes to us, I have to let her go, because she wouldn't be like, even if she is like 20, let's say I'm with a girl who is 20 years old, she cannot beat the guy who is 14 years old, because man has higher density, like bone density. So he can pull out, like if they get a hand on her and like literally taking a knife on her like neck and then trying to like, hey, you have to surrender or otherwise I'll get her. So in that situation I'll have to surrender, because I'm here to protect her and the situation will be yours. On the other hand, if I let her go, like, hey, run, I'm gonna fight them both alone. Okay, so in that case I'll have a advantage, like I'll don't I mean I won't have to surrender myself. Okay, like if there is a chance, like, okay, they're gonna kill me, so it's a life and death situation, like at that time I'll take the risk, I'll fight. Okay, that's the thing I'll do. Like a lot of people don't understand that, and they think that I hate women for that. No, the answer is no. I do not hate women. It will put me in disadvantage if I'm fighting two men with a woman, because if they get a knife and they literally put that grab that knife and hold it in front of her neck, I'll have to surrender, because I'm like, what it means, like I'll have to surrender. So instead of letting her fight in that situation, like if she is like, in most cases I'm assuming in most cases she's not capable of fighting. Okay, that's the thing I would assume. Now if she is capable of fighting and I see the guy is literally average, okay, he wouldn't be able to like he is a drug addict, like maybe he has a gun, I don't know, but let's say he's the average guy, and maybe she can pull out, like if she has huge amount of training. But we are talking about the average girl versus average man, so there is a thing that you should keep in mind.
Of the people who are homeless, men are more likely to be rough sleepers. So when women are homeless, they're much more likely to get into shelters. They're much more likely to be homeless, but in a car, for example. The people that you often see sleeping on the street when it's cold, generally speaking, the vast majority of those are men. Men are more. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
I got more. Okay, men are more likely to commit suicide. 80% of suicides are men. Men are more likely to be alcoholics. Men are more likely.
I think self-deleting stuff is related to women telling men that, hey, you can be emotional, it's okay. So like men have lost their way to deal with stress for a long period of time. Like we are telling men it's okay to be weak, it's okay to be emotional for 5 decades already. It's already 5 decades. So yeah, like they are emotional right now, they cannot handle their stress, a lot of men, and that is something we should work on together. I mean, I'm being politically correct right now because I'm not gonna offend a bunch of people on the internet. So that's the thing, like I think it's personal. I mean, in my opinion, man has lost their way to like handle the stress. So yeah, like I'm handling a lot of stress right now. It's not just, oh, I'm making a YouTube video, I'm having fun. No, there is nothing like this. I have a lot of stress to deal with in my personal life. I do not share that, and you do not see me. Okay, like I'm trying to handle that situation. It's like if somebody was emotional in this situation, you would think of self-deleting themselves. I mean, I thought of self-deleting. Okay, so imagine yourself, like I'm dealing with this stress, like I wouldn't do it, because I'm capable of doing more than that. I'm capable of doing more good than better than this. Like that's what I tell myself all the time, like whenever I had some kind of like thinking like that. Okay, so
likely to be drug addicted. Men are more likely to be incarcerated. Men are more likely to have harsher conditions when incarcerated. Men are more likely to be in solitary.
I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's
confinement.
continue.
Men are more likely to receive the death penalty. Men are more likely.
Yeah, that is unfair actually. You see, like for the same types of crime, we let women go sometimes, and some other times we have got like for the same kind of crime, the man gets harsher punishment. So it's unfair, to be honest with you guys. I mean, yeah.
Likely to be prosecuted than women for the same crime. Men are more likely to receive harsher punishment than women for the same crime. Men are more likely to be the victim of a violent crime. Men are more likely to be murdered.
Violent crime, actually, yeah, like that's true. Like we get attacked all the time.
Men are more likely to be the victim of police misconduct.
I mean, I was followed by a random dude with a knife the other night, okay, and it was like I tried to run. Like I had an opportunity to run, so that's why I ran. And yeah, like sometimes you gotta do it, and sometimes you won't have the option to run, so you'll have to either fight or freeze. Freeze means you are gonna be out of this world, or if you fight, maybe there is a chance, there is a possibility there. But you see, like, do not fight them for like for a minute or two. Like, don't do this. Like, try to like put your like concentrate your energy for a couple of seconds, okay? Spend that energy for 20 to 30 seconds and then run. Like, you should be going all out for 30 seconds and then run, okay? 30 seconds most, because if they have a gun, they can get you. If like they will take it easy, okay, they will think that you are the average guy, so they won't approach with a gun. Like they're not gonna spend a bullet on you. So they will maybe approach you casually, so you have to deal with them within 30 seconds, okay? Like 30 seconds, boom boom, like couple of punches, then run, okay? Like if you have a life and death situation. And yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, fight them, do this, do that. Like, this is ridiculous. You're not gonna be able to like win. Like, if there is anybody else over there, they're gonna find you out. Like, they're gonna get you rid of you, okay? Like,
Police brutality and police killing. Men are more likely to be falsely accused of a crime. Men are more likely to be victim to a
yeah, falsely accusing and getting accused of a crime, it's something we should be working together to like solve it, because a lot of people are taking advantage of the system. So when you are being falsely accused of something, the person who was supposed to be like, who is accused of something falsely, whatever the penalty for that allegation, you should give the same kind of penalty to the person who accused you. So I mean, if there is a death penalty for something that he is being accused of, then if it's a false claim, like if the guy proves himself 100% innocent, 100%, he gives all the evidence, okay, and they have given enough chance to her so that she can withdraw the cases, right? But she didn't do it, and in that case, we should have the same kind of penalty that he was supposed to be getting. So that can allow us to get rid of false allegation, like getting accused falsely. So yeah, like I think that's a great solution in my opinion, but Western countries are not doing it. They have like 3 years of prison time, like something like that. This is ridiculous. This is outrageous. Like, you are gonna get a person 20 years of jail for certain crimes, and you are getting like 3 years of penalty for that. What the fuck is that?
miscarriage of justice. Men are more likely to be wrongfully convicted of a crime.
So yeah, like there should be some kind of like now let's say like if there is like a circumstantial evidence and you cannot prove who is innocent, who is like falsely accusing, like you cannot prove that, okay? Like, I'm talking about a situation where the man or the woman is getting falsely accused of certain crimes, and in that case, if the person can prove himself or herself 100% innocent, then there should be the same level of penalty that he was supposed, like if he did the crime and whatever the maximum penalty was, in that case it should be reversed back to the person who accused that other person of certain crimes. Okay, so yeah.
Men are more likely to be wrongfully executed. Men are more likely to work a shitty job. Men are more likely to work a dangerous job.
I mean, this can solve a lot of problem if now all of a sudden some people won't understand the situation. I'm talking about 100% proving myself, let's say, proving himself or herself 100% innocent in the case of getting falsely accused. So yeah, in that case, so let's say Amber Heard, okay, like accused Johnny Depp of certain things he didn't do, but he proved himself 100% innocent because he was the one who was getting abused, and they had proof, and she was just all over the place crying, oh yeah, you should believe in me. So yeah, like she should have gotten that same kind of penalty. She should have, like, whatever the maximum penalty that Johnny Depp was supposed to get, so for that crime. So yeah, like
Men are more likely to get injured at work. Men are more likely to die at work. 93%. Men are less likely to do well in school.
men are more likely to die at work. It's more like a man is choosing, like, it's kind of like, it's complicated. Okay, I'm not gonna share my opinion on this because I will have to do some research on it, like why man chooses dangerous job. Like, it's, at the end of the day, they're choosing it. At the same time, you have to, like, look at the policies, like why this job is so dangerous, like how can we make it safer, but there is not enough people who are working on it to make it safer. So yeah, like there is that kind of things you should keep in mind. So
Men are less likely to graduate from high school. Men are less likely to go to college. Men are less likely
it
to receive
also depends on their choice
scholarships.
as well.
Men are less likely to graduate from college. Men are more likely to drop
I
out
don't think that's unfair, but like
high school. Men are more likely to drop out of college. Men are more likely to be divorced by their partner. Men are more
I think that is unfair, like getting divorced by your partner for, like, for some bullshit reason. Okay, a lot of the time, like money, like how much money you need. Oh, my partner is making just $35,000 a year, I'm not gonna be able to, like, maintain my status with that kind of money. No, I'm not gonna take him seriously, so I'm gonna give him divorce. And I think that's outrageous. Like, you got married to somebody in the first place, because of certain things, like, okay, you like him or like her in the first place. So where is that like, where that thing goes? Like, I don't understand. Like, oh, did you fall in love for the money only? Like, this is outrageous. I think $30,000, like after tax, $30,000 is good enough to maintain a family of 3 people. Okay, husband, wife, and a child. It's good enough, in my opinion, and I think it's fair. Like, it's a good salary, okay, to live a healthy life.
likely to pay child support. Men are more likely to pay alimony. Men have fewer social safety nets. Men die earlier than women. It's about 5 years.
It's because the amount of stress that we had to deal with, like in the office, and then when you get back home, like, yeah, like if she gets angry, like you'll have to, like, deal with a lot of stress. Like, we always try to, like, man always tries to make sure that their women are happy, and that is a lot of like, that's a stressful job, like to keep you happy or to make you happy. Okay, like that's the thing that is really stressful. So that's why we want somebody who is simplistic in a relationship. But a lot of men makes mistake by choosing the hot girl. Oh, she's hot, I'm gonna get her. No, like that's not how you should proceed.
More in
with
some
something.
countries. Here's a big one. Men have their penises mutilated at birth in a vast majority of Western countries. It's not all countries,
I think that's okay.
but a lot of Western countries, there's circumcision. And
I think circumcision is fine.
there's certainly
That is not unfair. Like, what the fuck are you talking
female
about?
genital mutilation in some countries, but male circumcision is much more practiced than female circumcision. Men are the exclusive victims of paternity fraud. Men have no reproductive
Okay, yeah, I agree with that one. Paternity fraud.
rights. Men have no abuse or domestic violence shelters. Gay men are more likely to be victim of a hate crime. Men are less likely to get custody of their children. Boys are more likely to die from child maltreatment. Boys are more likely to be victims of infanticide. Boys are less likely to be adopted. Men are more likely to die without having children. Men are more likely to die as virgins. Men are less likely to reproduce. Historically, reproductive success
I think that's like more like
17 to 1 in women's favor.
I mean, I do agree with some of the things he mentioned. Yeah, like that is unfair. I would agree, but some of the things I don't think that unfair, because it comes from God, and God is testing you, giving you certain things. Like He gives you wealth to test you in certain ways, and He keeps somebody poor because of certain things, like, oh, He's just testing your patience, and whenever you are patient, you are righteous, you're gonna go to heaven. Like, you, if you believe in God and you're doing the right thing, definitely you're gonna go to heaven first, and then somebody who is not capable of like passing the test, because life is ultimately a test, right?
Men are more likely to be body shamed without any repercussions to the shamer. Men are
Yeah, like we are oftentimes like shamed for like, oh yeah, like small dick energy, like what the hell is that? So yeah, but we do not do something like, oh, small boob energy, like, no, like we do not say that, because I think that is hateful, like that is literally hateful, and I think we shouldn't be doing to each other, like man or women, like we shouldn't be doing this kind of bullshit. So I don't understand,
more
like,
likely to be body shamed for traits out of their control.
Yeah, like we are body shamed for our height, like we do not control our height, it's genetic, like it's pure genetic.
And men are discriminated against due to diversity quotas. That's a few.
Listen, I can date a girl who is like 4 feet 11, maybe 5 feet to 5 feet 6. So I don't have a problem with the height, but some girl are like literally 5 feet and they want somebody who is 6 feet 4. Like, what are you? And also they have, that person has to be an NBA player making millions of dollars and also monogamous.
I understand that. I feel really bad to be
Like, I made a video recently, okay, you guys can check that
well,
out.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of pains you guys suffer through, but my point being is that women didn't create these, and men created these issues.
Man created these issues? Like, what are you talking about? Man created paternity fraud? Like,
A lot of the issues. I think that a lot of this is based on the patriarchy.
Well,
patriarchy allowed you to like do paternity fraud? Like, what the fuck?
I reject that there's a patriarchy, but
You reject that there's a patriarchy?
I reject that there's a patriarchy. Yes.
Wow, but you're also a traditionalist when it comes to like dating as well.
No,
I'm
he's
not
not.
really a traditionalist because I don't pay for women on
You don't.
dates.
That's true. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think women are denying a lot of women are denying any of these facts. It's true.
A lot. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's a small minority who agrees that, okay, it's unfair towards
It's
men.
really bad to be a man in this world. Absolutely. But the thing,
You did not even agree, like, oh yeah, it's I agree that, okay, it's unfair towards men. Like, you didn't even say, oh yeah, a lot of this, like, you are talking about other women, but you are not talking about yourself
is
over
that
here.
we're advocating for equality. We're marching, but the thing is that we're fighting for like bodily autonomy, for instance, right? But yeah, for sure, we can take a break and like march for not going to draft, I guess, for a couple minutes.
That's
Now, when
the draft has existed since the beginning of this country, and I've never seen. I'm not sure if you're talking about feminists or you're talking about women. I've never seen a mass movement of women advocating for there not to be a draft or to equalize the draft.
I feel like the draft is not a popular thing, and most people don't want a draft.
There was a huge movement against the draft during the Vietnam War.
That's for sure too.
Okay,
Vietnam.
we still have the draft, and it's
Do you say Vietnam or Vietnam or Vietnam? Like, how do you pronounce it?
still male. In 2022, an 18-year-old boy, I should say an 18-year-old man, has to register. And also, when it comes to the draft, you might say, well, what's the likelihood that they're
Okay, yeah, like we know much more.
Has someone in recent history been prosecuted for not registering for the draft? other provides certain federal jobs. There's a few others that aren't coming to me right now, but there are definitely other disadvantages to the draft, like I just mentioned.
Absolutely. The
Not-
draft is. You
I
don't think that that's like a patriarchal?
We're more capable.
Men
of
are better
violence,
soldiers.
okay,
Why do I
okay.
think only men are
This is
drafted?
the
Probably
problem.
because
We're more capable.
men
of
are better
violence,
soldiers.
You don't
So
think
why
that
men are drafted? Because men are better soldiers. So that's what they're saying.
that's like a patriarchal idea?
And
I
she
think
blames it on patriarchy.
Patriarchy is just
Like what? Like if men are stronger, that somehow becomes a patriarchal idea. Like what the fuck are you talking
a
about?
natural way of like human survival.
Well, I think it's a biological reality. If you look at physical strength, upper body strength, I mean, I don't imagine that this is going to be a controversial take. Men, broadly speaking, have more muscle than women. They're stronger, generally speaking, than women. Are there some women that are stronger than men?
Yes, absolutely. There are very few women who are absolutely more capable and stronger than men. Okay, but that's not in general. That's the exception. Okay, in general, majority of people, if we consider their upper body strength, it will be men.
Yes, but like generally speaking, men are stronger than
But if
women.
you believe that's true, then why does it strike you as unfair that only men are drafted?
No, I don't think that is making it unfair. It's unfair when you say that, oh, we want equality in everything, we need power, we need this, but you do not choose to do the hard job, which is like getting drafted.
I don't understand.
So that's the thing they're talking about. Like that is unfair. Like if you are coming from a point of view where you are believing that okay, it should be equal, everything should be equal, equality all the way, at that time it is considered unfair. But in my opinion, it is not unfair because I'm a traditionalist, more like traditionalist. So yeah, like I believe that men should protect women, men should pay for the dead, men should take care of women, and that's how it should be. And also when women take advantage of that situation, you should be able to identify that okay, she's taking advantage of me, therefore I should be hold or I should be held accountable for that. So yeah, like you are the one responsible for it. You have to identify that okay, she's not taking advantage of you. You have to identify that she's not gonna curve you like at the end of the day. So yeah, like you have to identify those and you have to make careful decisions which will allow you to be happy in a relationship.
Why does it? Well, the thing is that I think it would be wishful thinking for me to say that we should do away with the draft because that would create an equality between men and women if just nobody could get drafted. But the reality is there could be some scenario where we would need to draft upon people to defend the country, whether that be a threat from Russia, whether that be a threat from China. Who knows? Threat from fucking aliens? I don't know. There could be aliens
The
coming.
largest military budget. We have one of the largest, if not the largest, military budget in the whole wide world.
Mhm.
I'm sure we could round up the weapons or the manpower to do it if people are paid enough.
We could also only draft able-bodied people regardless of gender, which I think is what feminists and women who advocate for gender equality already believe in and advocate for. It's actually in your interest.
It's
Nah, you're just lying. Okay, like that's just I'll give you an L. Okay, I'm gonna give you an L for that.
it's not in anybody's interest to do that. We're gonna have a weak art.
Even men don't want to like get drafted for this. So what are you talking
I
about?
don't think there should be a draft, but I mean, I'm just saying like that's better than only drafting men.
Well, I mean, from a pure equality standpoint, I think women should be subject for military conscription, but that would be equality. But
Yeah,
you
I
don't.
don't believe
Women
in
are
that.
not in the streets saying we want equality, we want to be drafted.
I think it's because when it comes to drafting, people think, oh, you're gonna go get drafted, boom, front lines, it's over. When really drafting could just be like, oh, you're getting drafted, okay, there's another job that you could do. Because I don't think like every role in the military is purely martial, you know? So like, honestly, I think that if women were to be drafted, I feel like it's in
Also, like I heard a story, like I do not know whether or not this is a correct history, but I heard from somebody that a women commander made an emotional decision that caused a significant damage to a particular group of soldiers. So a lot of people would not like don't like to. I heard that, okay, I do not know like whether or not this is a correct story, but I heard that a lot of men do not like to be getting commanded by a female because of certain decisions that they make cost their life. So they do not like the idea of getting um, suggestions or like order from a female officer. So there is that, because like I think if that's a true story, then there is like certain things that you should be like, okay, yeah, I understand that. Okay, so I mean, I'm trying to be correct here, like I'm not trying to be like giving my uncensored opinion on this, because I don't want to get cancelled.
Everyone's best interest to be like, okay, let's look at each person and be like, what are you capable of? This role, go to that role. Like, just
I
like.
mean, if you're getting drafted, that means like some serious shit's going
Yeah,
on.
if there's a draft,
you're getting
like-
sent to die.
So it's usually the front lines, right? Or is it like,
Well,
yeah.
the thing is, like, I mean, it's just a biological reality that men are better soldiers.
Yeah, it's
we're
not even
physically
just strength,
stronger.
It's like reaction time. Like,
I don't think that women should do hard work. Instead, I advise women to do like, okay, do soft work. Okay, like that will allow you to be like really soft, because when you do hard stuff, that comes with a lot of stress, and that stress can lead you to have a failed relationship. So that's why I do not advise them to have it, because man can handle the pressure, can take the stress to another level. Like, okay, I can take it more, give me more stress. Like they can do it, but yeah, there are some men who are not capable of handling stress. So I agree with that stuff. But the thing is that I'm talking about the ultra successful men. Like when you are talking about ultra successful men, they're typically able to handle a lot of stress, and when you give them more and more stress, they can handle it. Like for example, you are in jail and rotating is in jail right now, and he's just literally like, oh yeah, it's okay, like if I die, that's okay. Like he's like literally doesn't give a damn about it, like if there is anything, like if they like, he is literally tweeting like, okay, he's not afraid of anything. Okay, so it's a lot of a stressful job. Like if you ever been to a, like if you ever been prisoned, okay, like that's a lot of stress right there. So yeah, but when you are somebody who has a mindset of a successful person, then definitely we're gonna like take it like, oh, it's an easy thing, like I can handle it, it's just an easy way to like get rid of a lot of stress. Like they think that it is less stressful, while people who are average or below average, they think that it is a lot of stressful thing to deal with.
I mean, they've done a
Twitch
ton
muscle
of, they've done a
fibers,
lot
yeah.
of studies on this, like unit cohesion. If it's just like, yeah,
If you believe that men make better soldiers, why do you believe that women should also be drafted?
I don't.
because well,
I personally don't.
well, because of equality.
Yeah.
I'm an egalitarian. I believe in gender equality.
He's kind of pointing out the hypocrisy of like women that claim to be fighting for equality, that only pick and choose equality that benefits them. Yeah.
I think a lot of us would agree with that though. Like that's why a lot of us don't go for full-on gender equality.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
And I think that's the issue. A lot of people assume that all women want gender equality and all women are feminists just because we're women, and that's
No, I do not think that all women are feminists, all women are wanting to have equalities. I mean, there's a lot of women, like I think in Asia there are a lot of women who just wants to be a homemaker, who just wants to cook at home, take care of children. Like they don't want to deal with stress. So I think I appreciate that. Like if you don't want to deal with stress, just tell us, okay, yeah, we will deal with it. So that's the thing. Like I really like that. Okay, like over here, like, oh, I want to have a career. Okay, that's fine. But when you have a career, you have a lot of stress, and then when you have a stressful day, you are gonna react to, like, sometimes you will have emotional burst and then you will disrespect me, and man cannot deal with disrespect. Okay, like disrespectful behavior is unacceptable for men. Like who have high testosterone, they will not give a fuck about you. So that's why a lot of the time men initiate divorce. It's, I think the percentage is around like 10 to 30% of the time where man initiates divorce, and 70 to 90% of the time women initiates divorce. Women initiates divorce due to money. Okay, like my partner isn't making more than average, so I'm gonna leave him. Okay, so that's the reason. Like the average person cannot make women happy nowadays, so that there is that. And for man it's more like, oh, I'm getting disrespected by her quite frequently, so that's why men give divorce. And how do you disrespect? By cheating on your husband, by not giving a fuck about his life. Like you are literally disrespecting his career. So yeah, for men, respect is the top priority. Okay, like, and also when you give them respect, they will try to make you happy. Okay, like if you want them, like let's say you are literally giving the best life, okay, at home. Okay, you are cooking, you are not doing any other job. Okay, you are not doing any other job, you are just cooking, keeping the house clean, and making sure his clothes are clean, so stuff like that. Okay, when you're doing that and when you say, hey, can you work 12 hours a day, that man will be so much motivated to do that work. Okay, that amount of work. If you want them to work 7 days a week, they will do it, just because you did this simple thing that, like, not simple thing, it's just, it's a big thing nowadays, because a lot of people think that, oh, why should I deal with this, my man should come home and then he should cook. Like, that's the biggest L for your relationship, unfortunately, because when you don't deal with it, like, he can make more money. There has been, like, I think I was talking to a person and he showed me something, like, okay, he showed me data from couple of people, like, who are successful right now. It was due to their wife being so supportive and making them happy. Like, yeah, the relationship is working well. A lot of the time women think that, oh, if I can have a career, then everything will be fine. No, tell your man to work like 12 hours, it will be fine. If you are able to, like, be feminine and do, like, let's say he's coming back home, he doesn't have to deal with anything. Okay, like, he just there, oh, he thinks everything is in order, the meal is ready, um the clothes are clean, and when he's going to the office, like, his clothes are ready, like, literally he just takes shower and then get ready and boom, he's gone. And when he comes back, he sees everything clean, everything is on the table, so he just eats and he talks to you. Like, that makes the man feel like a man, and it allows him to, like, it makes them more happier than, like, it makes them happier. Okay, and when you make them happier, when you make them feel happy, at that time they can do more and they feel motivated, like, hey, I have found somebody who is really supportive. So yeah, there is that kind of thing. And a lot of people will call me misogynist for that. No, I'm not suggesting, like, if you have hard time and like, let's say he's doing, like, it's like a cycle of problem. Okay, like, it's a cycle where you do not even know, like, where the problem starts. So my thing is that the problem starts when the woman is literally disrespecting her man and not cooking for him, while the man is allowing her to stay at home, like, no work, you can live your life for free, you don't have to worry about rent, you don't have to worry about anything, money related problem are solved. So at that time, if you just don't do the bare minimum in a relationship, that pisses the man off. So yeah, like, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, that is hateful towards women. No, I'm not suggesting that in any way. Like, that is not hateful.
It's not
I'm
necessarily
I'm asking for the bare minimum while I'm giving my full. if I'm working 12 hours a day, at least I expect something from a relationship, right? Taking care of the children, you can take care of it because I'm working outside, and you don't have to do a stressful job, for example going to a corporate office where you might get sexually assaulted. So
Case. I mean, I just mean extreme feminism, like in all the stereotypes, they just push that onto everyone.
I mean, extreme feminists are the loudest in the room always, so it makes sense.
But I mean, I
No,
forgot
I
if it was
don't.
you who raised this point that there could be other positions in the military that it might not be a combat role, but that women could contribute towards. So I still think, you know, there still would be an inequality there because it probably predominantly, like if there was a front line, I'd say it would be mostly men that are just being put through the meat grinder of war. But I mean, could they help with the war effort? Could they be contributing some, you know, I mean, also the way warfare is done now is very different than it was in like World War I, World War II with a trench warfare. Like, so it's changed pretty dramatically. So, but I mean,
It's a good
we
point.
still could,
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
good
the
point.
country could still use your, basically your, essentially your cheap labor. But so just to bring it back though, you were talking about the patriarchy, right?
I was just talking about how a lot of the system, it's men making men do a lot of these things. It's not women making men. Well, that's not true. There is some sort of. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, it's not man making man work. It's because we work to make you happy, to make women happy. That's the reason. Like, if there is no reason to live, like if I do not have a reason to have a family, then I have no motivation to work. Like, a lot of men are literally, like, you see, if you see those homeless people, they don't have a girl at home, so they don't work. They just take drugs and that's it. So yeah, I think this video may get demonetized, so you guys can support this channel through super chats and super things. So yeah, there is that kind of thing. And also hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends and family, hit the like button. Okay,
Well, you were saying that there's the patriarchy and kind of, I went through, I mean, I don't know, it took me 3 minutes to get through that entire list, that a lot of these, I think you were suggesting that a lot of these things that I was saying is, well,
It sucks.
It's the
it really
pa-
sucks.
it's bad, but men, you have yourselves to blame. Is that what I'm getting from that?
What I'm trying to say is that women are on your guys' side. Like, I think it's a really sucky thing but it's not.
no, women are not in our side right now. As of right now in the Western world, they think that men are oppressing women. Still, they think that, and also they think that men are literally men are rapists, men are doing violent things to women, while they disregard the fact that men are also doing violent things towards men as well, and men are more likely to be the victim of man's crime. Okay, so like, I don't understand why some people will suppress that fact and they will just mention that, okay, like, there are some bad men, okay, it's just that, and you have to live with the fact, and you cannot just blame all men for that. So yeah, I'm just trying to like keep my voice down today because it's kind of pissing me off.
Like, the women caused it.
But it's not clear to me, like,
Because women aren't the lawmaker. Well, women did not make the decision to draft all men to the army, right? Like, we didn't really have that power back then.
Like, I agree with you because in the sense, like, a lot of these things exist because of beliefs that women are not perpetuating. Like this idea, for example, that men make better soldiers, therefore only men should be drafted, like women should be protected and can't be soldiers. That's not an idea that women came up with. That's a pretty sexist notion. Debunking that
But, I
idea
mean-
actually benefits men.
I mean, just
biology is sexist, and
yeah.
the military has done extensive studies on this, and men do make better soldiers.
What is the hypocrisy that you're trying to point out then if you
Um,
believe that biologically men make better soldiers? Are you, and why does it bother
I think he wasn't talking about that. Man just a better soldier, but that doesn't mean that you cannot have equality over there. When you are a feminist, you can ask for getting drafted. That's what he's talking about. Like, if you are preaching the feminist idea, then why don't you ask for equality in terms of getting drafted? So yeah,
bother you that
That's what
feminists are
he's
not
talking-
advocating for gender equality in the draft?
Do
Hold
you
on,
want
Liz.
the draft or do you not want the draft? Like, I'm very confused.
Well,
Can make
okay.
better soldiers, but
So there-
draft is no good?
I mean,
So,
'cause, like,
we need, okay, so would it, in an ideal world, should there just be no war? Yes. However, I realized that there could be some scenario. Is warfare terrible? Would a draft suck? Yes, but there could conceivably be scenarios where a draft is required. So I'm not really for getting rid of it, because if a country can't draft, like, it would open the country up to, I mean, it would just, honestly, if it was that bad, there'd probably be martial law and they'd just throw people in the military. I don't know how that, constitutionally, I don't know how that would work. Ultimately, we need a draft because there are threats from other countries.
Okay, so you think the draft is a good idea then?
I think he's saying that if
It's
there's a draft,
necessary.
men and women
It's
should
a
be
necessary
drafted.
evil, I understand now.
Yes, a draft is necessary.
Yeah, it really sucks that you guys potentially have to do something like that. It's a huge risk that you guys take.
Well, look at what happened in Ukraine. All of the women were free to leave the country, and all of the men between the ages of 18 to 60 could not leave. They could not leave. So, you know, it's happening.
Ukraine is so sad. It's a really sad situation.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's incredibly sad. And most of the people are dying are men.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to pull it up because it'd probably get us banned on YouTube, but someone made a compilation video of all these Ukrainian women who went off to fucking Sweden or some other country that was safe, right? They're on Tinder in the club partying while their countrymen, it's literally a photo comparison, are dead on the ground with bullet holes in their head. That's the difference. And there's no feminists when fucking Russia invades. Let me tell you that. You can't be feminist when Russia's invading your country.
What does that have to do with feminism?
I mean, to point out, like, the hypocrisy, like, a lot of people have an issue with is, like, feminists will say, like, oh, we need more women represented in, like Fortune 500 company CEOs, or, like, Hollywood directors, or, like, in all these, like high, like, paying fields. But it's like, you don't hear women saying, like, oh, we need to even, like, the amount of, like, female plumbers there are. We need to even the amount of, like, people working in the fucking power poles and stuff. Like, they only, like, argue for the positions that are going to benefit them, but they ignore all the other inequalities. That's kind of what, like, a big problem a lot of people have with feminism.
I can see that.
No, I can see that. And also, I feel like representation is a very, like, complex subject, because there's a strong assumption that if you are represented, you automatically have power. But, like, what does that power look like? And does that power actually help what's going on? Like, you know, for example, like, Asian representation is super important in media right now. But, like, is Asian representation gonna help, you know, like, low-income Asian families? Like, is watching Crazy Rich Asians going to help that? So, like, when it comes to, like, you know, when it comes to the conversation of feminism and, like, representation even in itself, I don't even know if...
I think that's just pure business ideas for, like, what to do with representation. So it's a pure business idea, and I don't think that, oh yeah, there should be a brown representation on the screen as well. Like, fuck this shit. Like, you don't need to represent yourself in a situation to become a successful person. Like, what the hell are you talking about? If you want to be a successful person, then just do the hard work, even if you don't feel like it. You know, Andrew Tate says that a person will win always if he goes to the gym regardless of how he feels, than the person who is going to the gym whenever he feels like it. So you have to just understand the game, and you have to play the game regardless of how you feel. Like, it's like some people will be complaining, oh yeah, it's toxic. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not toxic. It's just the reality. I'm not suggesting you to do anything. Like, don't do any hard work, like, if you feel like it. But you'll see the result in 10 years, where I will be, where you will be, if you don't do the hard work today, if you don't start working hard on something that you care about. So
if people understand representation as it is.
I mean, I'm personally wholly against, like, caring about representation of, like, what people look like and their.
I think that's the greatest business idea that was invented recently. Okay, like, representation. We need quotas for certain things. No, we don't need quotas. If 100 women are competent enough to get a job, well, if there is like 100 seats and it's fair for everybody, and if 100 women are competent enough to get the job, they should get the job. I do not care if any single man doesn't get the job. I do not care about that, okay? But when 100 men is capable of getting the job, I mean, they're more competent than the women in a particular field, then 100 men should get the job. My thing is that it should be fair. It should be like, you should qualify with your competence, not with your gender or based on what do you say, like caste or anything like that. Like, no, I don't give a damn about that. Like, you should be getting the job based on your merit, based on your capacity, like what you are capable of doing, like contributing in that particular job. Nowadays the hypocrisy like continued to another level, and like it went to another level where you will see like, oh yeah, we need quotas for this, we need quotas for that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I do not agree with the quotas thing. Like, I think that's unfair for people who are competent enough to get the job, and yeah, you are just taking away their job. While let's say a person who is X, okay, person X is competent enough to get the job, but you hire person Y because of their gender. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it, or sex, okay? I think that is unfair, or even skin color. Like, this is literally ridiculous. Like, if somebody is competent enough to get a job, black, white, Asian, brown, like, it doesn't matter, okay? Or even religion, like, it shouldn't be a concerning fact for your hiring. Like, it's ridiculous, but a lot of people will play the politics, and that's why people are not succeeding in certain situation. Like, you see, like, work in many workplaces you will see the politics, like you were doing the hard work and you are not getting credit for that. Like, what the fuck is that? That's why I left one job, like where I was not getting credit for certain things I was doing in the job. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? There are some guys who were like taking advantage of that situation, so I saw that, I noticed it, and I just took the L. Like, no, fuck it.
Like diversity of like thought, not people like where people were born and where.
And that's why, like, in my personal company, I will make sure that it's fair. Like, there is no politics involved.
Parents were born. Like, I just don't focus on that.
Mm-hmm. I want to bring it back to the patriarchy thing, because you brought that up. So can you just kind of reiterate what? So I listed all the things, and you said, well, that's because of patriarchy.
Okay, and then
Okay, so.
I'm sorry, I was waiting for a question.
Oh, well, yeah. So you're basically saying, well, yes, it's men have it bad in all these ways, but because other men are doing it to you. But it's not clear to me that
the
they
draft
are.
is historically a man signed legislation to make it happen, and it's most women aren't like.
I think that's a weird example because it's kind of
not
necessary.
advocating for the draft.
Yeah.
Like, women are not advocating.
We're not
for
like,
the draft. We're signing it into
we're
law.
keeping the draft. Like, no one's doing that. No one's doing that.
I guarantee you, on both sides of the aisle, whether they're Republican or Democratic politicians, there's not going to be a push anytime soon from any women, whether Republican or Democrat, to be trying to abolish the draft or to equalize the draft between men and women.
If there was a march to eradicate the draft, I would march in it.
But that's
like I mentioned earlier. There was a huge push to abolish the draft during the Vietnam War, and it was both men and women who participated.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Definitely.
if it becomes relevant again, we'll see the same thing happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree on that.
But okay, so
Because we
you.
have nukes. We also have nukes. Nukes are fun, right? Not fun.
Oh
but
God.
Like, nukes are pretty powerful.
I mean, you could argue that nukes are kind of like one of the worst things ever invented. But on one hand, it's kind of given us some peace, but on the other hand, it's a pretty substantial existential threat. You know, like mutually assured
like,
destruction.
yeah.
Like,
Jesus, nukes are fun. Like Hiroshima, Nagasaki,
The
like,
science
they weren't
is
having
incredible.
fun.
Like, how did man build something like this? I'm a big scientist.
okay, so let's talk about the patriarchy. Okay, so what is the patriarchy?
Well, I'm not here to describe what is the patriarchy. I'm just there to just say I use patriarchy as a definition to just display like we didn't make the job. That's all I'm trying to say with that.
Okay,
Okay.
but like, just because someone is a man doesn't mean they did something because they are a man.
Just because they did something doesn't mean they.
Like, just
Did you
because
elaborate on that?
a man does a bad thing, it doesn't mean he did that because he's a man, or vice versa.
Of course.
I think he just happened to be a man in power who made that decision at the time.
Like,
Because people in government were mainly men who wrote that, right? Is that what you're trying to say? I think.
Well, so you're saying.
I mean, it
I
makes
just-
logical sense to like have a draft because it's like we built this country and it's like we have to defend it, like if it comes down to it.
There's
And,
absolutely
yeah.
human construction, right? Like we defined it. It wasn't like cavemen. We're gonna draft everyone if it came to like You know, it came.
I mean, I would say
from
the
a
reason
situation
men
for
are
sure.
drafted is because of like human history and the cavemen. Like if
Human
women,
nature.
yeah, if women were the ones hunting and gathering back in the day, like you guys would probably be stronger than us now. But that's not how nature played out.
Well, yeah, even before society was really organized.
Oh no, I
as it is today.
disagree. Okay, because we have biology, like we are biologically wired to hunt down certain things. We are biologically wired to like take down, like take a challenge. Like we have testosterone. Okay, so women don't have that, and to like face a dangers, like they're very risk averse. Okay, and I'm not like blaming women for that. Okay, it's just God who made us in that way, and that's why we are doing the thing that we do on a regular basis in a traditional society. Even to this day, they will make sure the women is safe and they're not really doing the hard work, they're just doing the soft work, and the man is taking care of the hard work and everything that is related to that. Yeah, women can give them advice and women can contribute in certain ways, but I think that is kind of like a idea which is literally like his idea is kind of bullshit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there was tribal warfare and shit. So, and if you were a dude, here's a spear.
I think what Reina was maybe trying to say was that like
I mean, women could have been stronger, like if they were hunting down, that's a good thing. Like if women starts working out at the age of like 16 or like 18, and then they continuously work out for next like 10 years, then they will be stronger than most men. Okay, like if you work out for 10 years, but the thing is that how many women are doing it? Like it's probably less than 10%. So
it's just one example, but some of these policies when they were enacted, maybe were you trying to say that the politicians were mostly were all men?
It's the politicians' blame. It's not like a man versus woman issue. It's like most
we're not
women
focusing on
are.
individual men.
the game is set up in a way which allows men to compete with another man and women to compete with another woman. So that's why you will see a lot of women will tell, like who are very slim, they look good, but they will tell a fat woman, hey, you, I love your curves. Okay, they want to take you out from the competition. Okay, because they know that deeply who is fit and slim, like doing all the hard work, she knows that I can attract a high value man. Okay, also your face structure matters, right? So she will take the advantage of that. Even if you are like, sometimes a fat girl can be cute, but the thing is that man will choose the fit girl over the fat girl. So that's the thing, like that's why women will tell other women like, I love your curves, because they want to take you out from the competition. That's the reality. That's the unfortunate truth. I'm not just calling you out. Okay, do your thing. Like if you want to be fat, be fat. I don't care. Okay, I do not need to know like, oh yeah, there is that. Like I don't need a reason, okay, to understand what you are going through. If you are doing that, like if a girl is telling you that, oh, I love your curves, and she is slim and fit and she is doing all the hard work, you have to understand that the girl is just lying to you so that she can be at the top of that competition to attract the high value man. Okay,
saying they deserve to do whatever because they're a man. I think she was trying to say that the leaders were men at the time.
Yeah,
Sure.
what I was trying to say was that these men signed these things into law because they were motivated by like ideas of gender that
Money as well.
Well, actually, they've done.
are,
They,
I would say, outdated.
you know what? They actually did an analysis of like reigning women and queens and stuff, and they actually found that queens were more likely to go to war than male rulers were. Believe it or not.
What do you mean?
Like
they were willing
female
to?
rulers, like queens, were actually more war hungry.
Can we have an example?
women love criminal shows. Okay, like crime shows. Okay, crime related shows. Why? Men do not love that. Men do it only for women. Okay, I'm giving you a good reason. I'm telling you the truth. Men do not like to do war. Men only do it because of women, because they care about women. Okay?
I don't know any of the names of any of the monarchs, but I'm pretty sure if you like, you could probably Google it, like it, something like.
But I cannot say like it's true exactly because I will have to check that out.
Women, female queen, obviously it has to be female queen. Queens were more likely to go to war than kings.
I'm sure on like a proportion, like. Yeah.
Eric, do you want to Google it? Should we Google it?
Like perhaps Cleopatra.
Yeah, we see chat.
Bloody Mary, queen's more likely to go to war. Can you Google it, Eric?
Joan of Arc.
There's something from the University of Chicago. There's a study by the University of Chicago, Eric. It might be the first one. Let me know. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Ooh, okay, you're gonna have to zoom in. Do states experience more peace under female leadership? We examine this question in the context of Europe over the 15th to 20th centuries. We instrument queenly rule using gender of the firstborn and whether the previous monarchs had a sister. We find that polities led by queens participate in war more than polities, I've never heard that one, led by kings. Moreover, aggressive participation varied by marital status. Single queens were attacked more than single kings. However, married queens attacked more than married kings. These results suggest that asymmetries in the division of labor positioned married queens to be able to pursue more aggressive war policies. That's just one example, I don't know. But it said 39%, in the Google thing, it says 39% more likely to engage in war in a given year.
I didn't know that. That's very
That is
interesting.
intriguing. Thank you.
Yeah, y'all queens just be going at it, going for war.
Okay, I believe it now.
But let's just, I want to kind of get back to dating for a little bit and then wrap up. But you mentioned patriarchy. Do we currently live in a patriarchy?
I don't know enough about the topic to.
Well,
discuss
we
that.
can open up to the rest of the
Okay.
panel. Do you guys think we live in a patriarchy?
I think we live in capitalism. But if
That's
you
true.
want to chance,
That's
agree with
true.
that.
patriarchy is kind of out of the picture.
Unless she has some sense.
Yeah, women are doing like killing it. Like how.
Not all.
I mean, we got women at the stable out earning us. So.
Yeah, and
Just saying.
and like women are out graduating men in college, so it's like they're doing better in school, like
Yeah,
not
they-
going to jail as much.
Like-
So it's like women are kind of killing it.
I think it's like 60-40 in universities.
I heard it was worse. I heard 70-30. I don't know.
I guess it depends on the university. But anyone?
I think that we do live in a patriarchy, but patriarchy does not necessarily mean that men have it better. I'm pretty sure the patriarchy pretty much fucks over everyone, and we're seeing that in society.
No, that's wrong. It's just 1% or like top 5% of the men who has control over everything. Okay, so 95% of them are not living in patriarchy. Okay, it's not patriarchy
And it really sucks.
right
I think
now.
patriarchy hurts
Like in the past, it was to some extent.
everyone. They fuck over everyone.
But what is the patriarchy? What is that?
It's
How do you
per-
define it?
so I think how I would define patriarchy is pretty much
You don't
I guess it's a
know.
policy. I guess it's a philosophy where that positions men in a higher place of power with certain expectations, but it just so happens, I mean, in my opinion, and those expectations actually harm men.
Okay.
I would say for me, my definition of patriarchy is that it's this idea.
Not your definition. There is a dictionary
or
definition
this
for that.
construction of gender roles that are intended to benefit men.
Fuck.
Intended to. I'm not saying that it always does. I think it often hurts men. But it's the creation of these gender roles, these boxes.
No, it's just whatever the idea is that right now it's capitalistic and capitalistic thing can hurt majority of men right now, and it just benefits top 5% of the men, not women, not men. It's just top 5% of the men. Okay, so yeah, like there you go, you got it.
And expectations for people based on gender.
Are we going around right now? Or?
Sort of, kind of, a little bit. Well, I mean, what I've often seen, I think the definition is like a system or society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. Or I often hear a society built by men for men.
I don't think it's always for men. I think that's an
No, it was built by men, but for men and women. Okay.
Okay.
So I think I would agree with that definition, but with the caveat that with I guess because power is not like, you get power and it's completely harm-free. There are so many stories in media that tell you, hey, this is what happens when you have power. It's hard. So if men suffer.
Andrew Tate has power and he's getting bastard right now. So there you go, guys. I think the topic becomes boring at that time, so that's why I just cut it off. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family. Maybe they will learn certain things about how to have a good idea, knowledge just for certain things that they're talking about. So yeah, like we talk about what is unfair towards men and what you can learn and how can you help or assist men in certain things so that their life becomes better, and in a result as a result your life gets better, because women love to take care of certain things. Like they'll go to receptionists, they go to certain jobs where you have communication involved, they try to help people, which is necessary. But men are like literally doing job so that they can help the women. So yeah, that's the thing, that's the main difference. Okay, they want to help other people, and as a result they get happiness, but men typically get happiness from their women. So that's the thing. Okay, and that's the thing you should learn and be careful about in your relationship, right? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you soon. Peace out. Love you 3000.